Nick Bodkins.
And I'm Craig Koger, and we're going to kick things off with the Monday Night Football game last night. The Chargers beat down the Broncos. What does this mean for the San Diego Chargers right now?
What it means is you're one game behind the Kansas City Chiefs. The question is, will they be able to win that division? I think they will. They played the Colts this week. This weekend's going to be a tough game for them going into Indy. But the Chargers are hot right now. Philip Rivers is playing out of his mind. The Chiefs, they're a new team. They're a younger team. They haven't quite figured out how to win the close games. The Chargers know how to win games. They're going for their fifth straight NFC West division title. I think they get it. They're only a game behind. They still got the Chiefs. They got to play the Chiefs and the Raiders each one more time. Going down the stretch, they have a lot of easy games against the 49ers and a couple other easy teams, the Bengals, teams that not without any winning records. So I think the Chargers will win this division.
I agree with you. I think the Chargers are going to come back and make this late season surge like they've done the last couple of years and win out this division. Like you said, they play Oakland and Kansas City, both after the Indy game that's coming up next, but both those division games are at home. San Diego has played well at home, and I think San Diego has a chance to go in and beat Indy. And I think this is the biggest game on their schedule other than the Chiefs game. And like you said, they got Indy up next. They got the two division games, and then the final three games of the season are pretty easy. They're on the road, but they're against teams that the San Diego Chargers should be able to beat. And I think right now, Kansas City's got maybe 2 or 3 more losses. Before the end of the season, I think San Diego loses 1 or 2. I think San Diego wins that game against Kansas City to split the season series, and I think at the end of the year, San Diego wins the division.
This is what this team is known for. They win games in November, in December. They don't do good early in the season, but it seems like once November hits, this team goes on a tear. So this is, we should be used to this and what the San Diego Chargers are doing. This is their MO. Switching up a little bit, the Miami Heat got beat down last night. Dwayne Wade struggled. Is it over for Eric Spoelstra and time for Pat Riley, or what's going down in Miami?
I don't think it's over yet, but I think the end is near. Right now this Miami Heat team is not looking like the Miami Heat team that everybody expected to see before the season started. But like you say, Dwayne Wade last night, he struggles. Who's there to pick up the slack? You got LeBron James, he scored 25, Chris Bosh scored 21, but nobody else on that team is doing anything. I heard a rumor, the Miami Heat are trying to pick up Eric Dampier to fill the slot for Haslam that's going to be out with an injury. But I just don't think that all around they've got a couple superstars, but I don't think that this team is really that good. And I think, Pat Riley is going to come down in probably the next 20 games and take over the coaching on this team.
I think you're right about Pat Riley coming down the next few games. I said that earlier in an earlier episode that I think he'll come down if they're sitting about close to 500 after, if it's halfway through the season. If it's 2020, that's 40 games in and they're 500 or so, Pat Riley's probably coming down. But there's a lot of problems with the Heat. Number one, they don't have any chemistry. I said this as well. I said that they look to me like remember those Olympic teams that we used to have, and we just get all these superstars and we would just try to throw them out there and they would just try to kind of stand around, and individually they were good, but they weren't good as a team. That's what this team looks like. They have 2 guys. Chris Bosh is nowhere to be found. Dwayne Wade struggled last night. LeBron James is there, but outside of that, they don't have anybody else, and there's no chemistry. They're not passing the ball around. Their 6, 7, 8 guys are probably 9, 10 guys on good teams like the Celtics and other deeper teams. This team's not very deep. They don't have very good players outside of those big 3. And Chris Bosh is, I like to say the big 2 because Chris Bosh is nowhere to be found.
Last year at this point, the Miami Heat had a better record than they do right now. So, it makes you kind of wonder if these off-season moves were the right thing for the Miami Heat.
If you're Dan Gilbert of the Cleveland Cavaliers, are you not smiling right now?
Yeah, he's probably got a big smile on his face.
You got a little smile on your face. All right, we're switching it up here. Another guy that's got a smile on his face a little bit. Josh Hamilton wins the AL MVP. It's a good choice.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a good choice. I don't think there was really any question. You had Robinson Cano and Miguel Cabrera in the mix, but Josh Hamilton obviously had the better season, and he got his team to the World Series, you know what I mean? And Josh Hamilton, he led the league in batting average. He was second in on base, just behind the NL winner Joey Votto. He did good in all categories, and he was the star of a really good team. I don't think it was any question Josh Hamilton deserved the MVP for the AL this year.
Yeah, the only little surprise was that it was he won it kind of more of a landslide. He did miss the last 20 games or so with the injury, but he came back in the playoffs that led that team to the World Series. Before that, he was the major reason why they were able to sustain to get in first place in the American League West. He was their best player on the AL championship team. He led all the categories in the American League besides home runs, where he finished fifth. So definitely a top choice. You tip your hat off to Josh Hamilton. Still, what a story after getting kicked out of the league and drugs and all that stuff, and now he's AL MVP. So that story continues to keep growing as a wonderful and remarkable story. All right, we're gonna keep it moving along. Craig, we're gonna pick up some big college games going on this weekend. Starting with the Oregon-Arizona game. Your Arizona Wildcats are going to be able to beat the Oregon Ducks?
I would love to see my Arizona Wildcats beat the Oregon Ducks, but unfortunately I just don't think it's going to happen. That Oregon offense is just, there's too many weapons, they put too many points on the board. They struggled in the game against Cal, but other than that, the lowest point total that they've had all year is 42 points. And this game is in Oregon. It's a huge game, and if they win it, they win the Pac-10 title, they go undefeated. I think it's just too big of a game for Oregon to lose.
Everything's on the line for Oregon. A national title game, Pac-10 title. This is it for Oregon. If you, this is your championship game right here to get to the title game. And if I think Oregon's going to be able to beat them. Oregon's just too quick. They did struggle a little bit against Cal. We'll see if Arizona can take what Cal did defensively and apply that against Oregon as well. But a lot of reports coming out in that Cal game, players are faking injuries. We'll see if that continues to occur with the Arizona Wildcats trying to slow down that Oregon team.
And moving from the number 1 in the BCS to the number 2, Auburn has a big game against Alabama. A lot of people picking Alabama in this game. How do you see it going?
I like Alabama. This is Alabama's big game of the year. They are, unfortunately for them, they're not going to be able to play in the national title game again. They're not going to be able to play in the SEC championship game. So this is their championship game to try to knock off their rival from stopping Auburn from playing in the national title game and give them that first loss. I like Alabama. It's in Alabama. I think Mark Ingram has a big game. They're going to dial it up against Cam Newton on the defense. I like Alabama.
I like Auburn in this one for some of the same reasons I like Oregon. I just think it's too big of a game for Auburn to lose. At this point in the season for them, they're undefeated. Alabama has struggled a couple times in the year. I think this is probably going to be one of Auburn's toughest games. It is in Alabama. Alabama would love to pull the upset on Auburn right now, rivals. But Cam Newton running the offense, I just think Auburn has the edge in this one. I think it's a very close game, but I think Auburn wins it.
All right, what about the Boise State-Nevada game playing Friday night? Boise State undefeated, ranked number 4 in the nation. They're going to be able to beat Nevada, probably their toughest competition since they played Virginia.
Yeah, I think this might be one of the toughest games Boise State's had all year. Nevada has a really good offense. They have a good quarterback, and the only loss that Nevada had was against Hawaii, and that was the only time that their quarterback threw more than 1 interception. So if he can control the ball and not turn the ball over, I think they have a fighting chance. But Boise State is good offensively and defensively. And I think, both these offenses kind of match up well against each other, but Boise State's defense is what stands out to me, and I think that's going to be the difference maker. I think Boise State wins.
I like Boise State as well. I think they're going to be able to put it on Nevada. This is their season on the line as well. If they lose, their title hopes are gone. I think they're going to be hoping they need to win and hope maybe Auburn loses and maybe TCU doesn't do so well in their game for them to jump ahead of them, both of them in the BCS, and be playing that national title game. So that's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I'm going to stick with Boise. I said Oregon and Boise State early in the championship. I'm still sticking with that.
So if Boise State plays well against a ranked Nevada team and then TCU beats a 1-9 New Mexico State team, does that put Boise State ahead?
They're real close right now, but if Boise State can put it on Nevada, I think they jump over TCU. And we'll see what happens in the Auburn-Alabama game. If it's close, I don't know if they'll be able to jump over Auburn or not, because the BCS is just something like that. But I still think that Boise State, they should be able to jump over them if Auburn loses.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if Boise State wins this game, even if TCU wins, unless TCU wins by about 65 points, I think Boise State's going to jump TCU by next week. Moving on from college football to the NFL, there's 3 games coming up on Thanksgiving. The BnK show will not be back with you guys until Monday, so we're going to preview the 3 Thanksgiving games. The early game of the day, Patriots at the Lions. Who you got in this one?
I like Tom Brady and the Patriots. You know, it's unfortunate we've got to watch, eat our food and watch the Lions get beat down every week or every Thanksgiving. But, you know, the Lions, they're just a team that's struggled lately. They're a young team. They've a lot of close games, but I don't think this one's going to be close at all. I think Tom Brady and them give it to the Lions.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, the Patriots, they're just too tough for the Lions. I think the Lions, they got a lot of good pieces on this team, but they can't stay healthy. And, you know, this is just another one of those seasons for the Detroit Lions. You know, at least they won a couple games this year. But the Patriots, you know, they're making that surge. They're a playoff contender, and these are wins that they know they need to win. And I think the Patriots have this one.
The afternoon, the middle of the game is the Saints at the Cowboys. Who do you like?
You know what? The Cowboys have played really good football the last couple of weeks. They're at home on Thanksgiving Day, and I think I'm going to go with the upset on this one. I think I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to beat the New Orleans Saints. Right now, you know, I think the Falcons are going to win that division. I think the Saints might fall off a little bit. The Cowboys, you know, they beat the Giants. I think the Giants are a better football team than the New Orleans Saints are. Out of the 3 games on Thanksgiving, you know, there's a favor in every one. This is going to be my upset pick, and I'm going to take the Cowboys.
I like the Saints due to the fact that it's a short week, and it's when you have a short week and you're trying to prepare for a quarterback like Drew Brees. I think that's going to be a tough challenge for that Cowboys defense. We've seen their secondary just get demolished by the likes of Aaron Rodgers and a couple other guys. Eli Manning in the first Giant game. I think he picks apart that defense, that secondary, because that secondary is not very good. And I don't think that the Cowboys will be able to hang with the Saints. I think the Saints are starting to get their mojo back. They're starting to get guys healthy. I like New Orleans to win this game.
And the evening game, Thanksgiving night, the Bengals at the Jets. Who you got in this one?
I like the Jets. The Bengals, man, what happened to this team? At the beginning of the year, they had all this talent. Last week, we watched them. They get this big lead on the Buffalo Bills, and then they fall apart, and the Bills come back and win that game. And the Jets, I don't think they're going to need a comeback to win this game. They've had 3 straight comeback wins, but I don't think they're going to need one. I think the Jets win this game as well very easily, and it'll be a time to turn it off, I think, about the 4th quarter. I think the Jets put it on the Bengals.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the Jets in this one too. The Bengals, they got these offensive weapons, but their defense has just not showed up the last couple games. And the Jets offense, they got weapons, and Mark Sanchez is getting in rhythm with some of these guys. You know, in this offense, looks like one that's going to drive the field on you and that's going to try to put a lot of points on the board, and they're doing that. And they have had some close games the past couple weeks, but I don't think this one's going to go down to the wire. Like T.O. said, the Bengals are terrible. They're a terrible team. They've been, in my opinion, the biggest disappointment in the NFL this year, and I don't think they got what it takes to beat the Jets.
And I read supposedly that Rex Ryan got in his Jets defense's rear ends to try to get them. Said they've been playing pretty crap the last few weeks. He wants them to, so I think that motivates his team. I think the Jets defense turns it up. Like I said, I like the Jets. That's it for today's show, folks. We're off again until Monday. Have a good Thanksgiving. I'm Nick Watkins.
I'm Craig Coger. Make sure to keep up with our Facebook page, BnK Sports Talk. And if you got any comments or questions, email us bnksportstalk@hotmail.com.